Hello everyone and welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. I'm shooting a few short videos on each of my facilities around my layout. And today we're going to focus on the brewery, which is one of my simplest facilities. And the brewery is basically just a single line spur that comes off the main. It's a trailing spur. And it's not a very long one. So it's designed to only hold 2 cars max. Or if you need to just temporarily place some cars there, you could probably stick 4 in there. But what we're doing today is basically switching out a box car, an empty one, for a full one, and also adding a covered hopper, which might be filled with hops or any other material that the brewery might need to make its product. The local train here is being pulled by engine number 3399 Norfolk Southern SD40-2, and this particular engine is it's an inter-mountain engine, which by the way they're great. I have a few of them, and the more I run them, the more I like them. I actually like them better now that they're broken in than I did in the beginning. They were a little bit choppy and a little bit rough running, but as they're breaking in, they're just getting smoother and smoother and smoother. So the decoder that you're hearing here is the ESU Loc Sound decoder, which is outstanding. I think the sound files are incredible, and these are the stock files. Actually, I did change the horn on this particular locomotive, and I just messed around just with the volume levels a little bit. I haven't finished programming everything. I still think some things are too loud, but I've only had them for less than a year, so I'm still experimenting with that. So as the train is split here, the idea is that this move is going to be to pull out the boxcar so that we can make room to put in the products that are coming in. Obviously the brakeman would be hanging off the flat car here with the lumber, and he would be switching this turnout here right now so that we can back into the facility and pull that boxcar out. A side note, I did get a few new cars for Christmas because I was given a few gift cards that I was able to spend on my layout, and I went out and bought some really nice cars that I'm very happy to add to my layout. So 2 of them are actually right behind the locomotive. The center beam cars actually came in a set of 4. They're the micro trains, Norfolk Southern center beam cars, and outstanding details. They run real smooth. And the reason you only see 2 here is because this train just came from the lumber facility where it dropped off the other 2 and picked up this other center beam car, and obviously the lumber that you see there. So we're making our way back into the facility, obviously slowly, because there's speed limit restrictions here as you switch out the cars, and we're trying to be safe about it. I like to run my trains extremely slow, as slow as I can, to make it look realistic, especially when switching out cars like this. So we've connected out now to the boxcar, coupled up, connected the air hoses, and now we're going to remove this boxcar from the facility. One of the other cars that I got for Christmas, Santa Claus brought, is this boxcar that we're pulling out right now, and I absolutely love the weathering and the graffiti that they added to it. It's also a micro trains car, and actually right in front of that, as we're passing through, that blue covered hopper is also micro trains and weathered and graffitied. That I added that to my Santa list, and Santa Claus was very nice to me. It brought me that as well. So as we pull out the boxcar, you're going to notice that there is a yellow rail boxcar and also a Norfolk Southern covered hopper right behind that one. These were organized in this order as they were classified in the yard when they left, so that this transition would be as smooth as possible. The brakeman right now would be hanging off the boxcar that we just removed, because he had to go back there and take the handbrake off and also connect the hoses. So he's going to jump off as soon as we get to this turnout here, so that he can switch it back to the main line and we can shove back and reconnect with our train. So what you're looking at below the train here, kind of on the left side of the locomotive, is my yard. And the yard right here in this section is all about the engine facility area. So there's a few tracks for engine parking. There's a few tracks that lead over to the actual facility that repairs and works on the engines and the locomotives. And then there's a couple of tracks that lead to the refueling tracks and sanding tracks. Obviously, you need a tower and the basic elements of a yard. And I really like the way it came out overall, but I'm still working at it and adding details here and there. So we're about to recouple up with the train, and as we make the connection here, the brakeman obviously would have jumped off and worked on connecting these hoses. Now the video, obviously you can see that I edited all the seams so that you wouldn't see my uncoupling with the stick and the skewer, but this whole sequence will probably take a little longer than what you're seeing here on the video, because the brakeman would have had to reconnect the hoses, release the handbrake, walk back 2 cars, apply the handbrake, release the couplers, and then the hoses would release after that, and he would have to jump on the back of this white covered hopper. So I try to make it as realistic as I possibly can as far as running speeds, but I know that obviously this would take probably a bit longer. I'm chipping away at my scenery still, even though I'm very happy with how things are coming out right now. But I wanted to just tell you that these backdrops are absolutely outstanding. They're from a company called Backdrop Junction, and they make very, very long photo backdrops that have even they even come with a backing that has like a sticker type backing, so you can just stick it right onto the backdrop. And actually right behind the new boxcar here that I was telling you about with the graffiti, there is a connection. So that's why it looks like one giant tree. It's actually the end of one and the beginning of the second backdrop, and they're spliced together right there. I didn't do anything, crazy or anything that required a lot of technology to do that. I just basically ordered it in the opposite direction so that the orientation of the picture is actually exactly backwards. And I just connected it there, and it came out great. But as you can see, it gives the layout such a deep look, like the depth from the mountains in the back, and really adds to the scene. That's what I was hoping for when I first designed the layout. But I'm more than happy with how the backdrop came out here. All right, so we're making our way back to the brewery, and the idea is that I want to line up the boxcar with the platform, which is where they would be loading, unloading, and then the hopper would be in this extra piece of track that's right behind that, so they can unload it as they please, as they need it. So as soon as we line it up here with the building and the platform, we're going to bring the train to a halt, and then obviously the brakeman would have jumped off probably a little bit before that to uncouple and jump back on the boxcar that was originally pulled out. So in a minute we're going to be making our way out, and that's basically the whole switch. That's all that really can be done here, or basically all that I really wanted. done here. I kind of did that for a few reasons. I didn't want a very complicated situation here because it's hard to reach back there to be coupling and uncoupling and switching turnouts and things like that. So I wanted to just make it as simple as possible. And I didn't have a lot of room back there. So, I'm happy with exactly the size of this building and the way the surroundings were able to kind of fall into place here. So we're making our way out of the facility now. We've completed all our switching. And once we get to the turnout, once again, the brakeman is going to jump off and switch the turnout to line it up with the main line. And the last move will be basically to reattach ourselves to the rest of the train, release the handbrakes, connect the hoses, and we would be on our way. I wanted to mention that the layout is designed to be mostly double main line. I do have a short line that interacts with this main line. It goes into it here and there. And the short line is also designed to be reversing sections so that the train can go in either direction, both on the short line and on the main lines. But this particular section was designed so that if there is a train coming through, it can be diverted into the other main line, and this way we can work off the main that we're on right now and not have to worry about the other train being stopped or crashing into this one, so on and so forth. And it gives the dispatcher another job to to switch out the turnouts and divert the train around this one. So here we are making our way back, obviously at a very slow speed. We've got our bell going, and we're about to connect to the covered hopper here. And these are my two Christmas presents, as I mentioned before. They're Christmas presents to myself from Santa Claus. But I highly recommend these cars. They're outstanding and they're beautiful. They did a really good job with the detailing and with the graffiti and everything. So here we go. We just reconnected all the hoses, and the brakeman is going to walk back to the locomotive. And obviously that would take a lot longer if we really had to walk all the way back to the locomotive. So our work is done here at the facility. Our brewery is all stocked up and ready to go and continue to make its product. And the locomotive is now making its way down a hill at about 2%. And you probably hear the dynamic brakes engage now, because I do like to use them on this hill when I run my trains. I probably did it a little bit prematurely because I normally get the speed up a little bit higher before I engage them. But again, Logue Sound has made an outstanding product, and these sounds are just amazing. They're so realistic, and especially for N-Scale, which has the smallest speakers. I don't even know how they get so much sound out of these speakers, but very happy with the product. So yeah, that wraps our video pretty much. And I'm not sure what facility I'm going to be demonstrating next, but if you would like to watch my other facility videos, you're always welcome to check out my channel, Rhythm Railroad on YouTube, and please subscribe and just hit the little bell if you would like to be notified every time I make one of these facility videos or other things. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.